in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique.
Unique.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
And unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yes, okay, we're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show.
Good day. Good day, good dollar, good dunk, good spiel, good spiken, good spricken, good sproken. Today I want to do the show in gibberish. I'm going to speak gibberish to you and talk about things what we can't talk about openly. The first thing I'm going to talk about is they found in the polls of New York. I'm going to discuss a variety of things today, but partly my weekend, partly my morning. What else? Some good political things. The tragedy that happened in Florida, the buildings collapsing, and that's a danger. I wanted to be able to, I'm not hearing my voice in my ears. I'm not hearing a nice loud tone in my ears. I don't know why. Maybe something, Jeremy's going to help me out here. There's something that's not really coming into my head. No, there you go, that's better. I can feel it better. Because it feels then like it's, you know what I mean, I'm not reaching. So anyway, and I don't have, and maybe this microphone is so compressed. I'm going to bring another microphone in tomorrow. You know what I mean? It may be something there that gives me more bottom. So I'll try that. Anyway, so here I am. Anyway, the first thing I'll hit on is the election. And a little gibberish. Now, I know that there's controversy about has the election been stolen, has it not been stolen? And the controversy around that, you can't really talk to people about that. I'm also going to talk about COVID curing and some of that. And the big caveat today is UFOs. Oh, I'm going to speak about UFOs. I did a show on NBC in 1997 called Confirmation, Hard Evidence on Aliens Among Us, 1997. And I spoke to many of the experts that have said that we have had visits by the UFO community and now the government is talking about that. And I'll bring up Jackie Gleason's meeting with Nixon, showing him something. But first I want to discuss this election. Now, they just found in New York that there are more ballots than voters. And now we have, now I'll do the gibberish. Arizona. Stolen, biečiem mesknutów, meške sjen ugoti špiljo baki. Nefite skando škompa, di skando Minnesota, di fede spoglio condicita stambalo stolen, gasa medavrio, Wisconsin, braki paš korlatinji di Georgia, Stacey Adams, korabashkem je vaskonja motu pučvalje. Viskanda skanto ropočutu lati tanti, Nancy Pelosi, David Chuck Schumer, Decotesker Kamala Harris, Besconto fatu swombojutu radigi dandilaka. Dramicatico Party. GOP Elite. Nebete scorto mandalipidi fambarete ponton Trumpen. Bescanto di Trumpen. Somebody beginning des Pampen die fasten kompen den Trumpen. Why? Why spanken die Trumpen? You tell me. Now that's my gibberish on on what we have is the election and the, certain things. I've left out some very sensitive issues about it, but I think you may get an idea. The other thing I want to talk about is critical race theory, another thing we can't talk about. And I recently saw a wonderful video by a gentleman, a white gentleman, talking about the frustration that he has that there seems to be an attack on a different cultural group besides ones that are being presented in a different light today. And I'm going to do a gibberish rant on that because of the political correctness. And I've come around now. I can say anything I want on the air in my gibberish. And there will be a dictionary that I'm writing that you'll be able to follow what I say. We're composing it now. And you'll be able to understand what I say. And we can get past YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all the people that are squashing speech. So I've come up with a new language idea. There's going to be a 1-800 number where you can buy my new language for $29.95 plus 10 free lessons personally with me. But more about that later. Right now I want to do the rant on what's happening to education and critical race theory and how it's been terrible since the beginning. How it seems to have gotten worse, something that was healing. And I had a conversation this weekend, actually, with a lovely man who, AT&T, and he came to the house and he helped me put up a thing. My daughter is in town, and she works for a company, and she can work from home. So I put a separate line in for her so she could work from home. My daughter Ariana, my 30-year-old, because it was my birthday this weekend, and I'm only 48 years old. You'll have to Google yourself to figure out how old I am. But I had my interesting situation. My ex-wife came with my daughter Ariana. They live in Colorado. My son Nick lives with me, who helps with the show here. He's 20. I had my baby girl Gabriella, who's 2. So I had my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. And then my daughter Frances, who's 29, she lives in town, California. She came. And of course my stepdaughter, Caitlin, who's a stunning young girl of 14, as they all are. And then my grandchildren, Caitlin, Katrina and Shay. And Shay just had a baby, so I have a great-grandchild. And I'm only 48 years old, because I got married very young. And but everybody was at the house, and it was a lot of fun. More about that later. But right now, I want to get into this critical race theory. So I had the computer. I had another line put in, and a person from AT&T, they came in and do a good job. I have Spectrum, mainly, but I wanted a separate line away from Spectrum for my daughter, so she can have no interrupted service while she was working from home. And the gentleman was a great guy, and we had a discussion about race and his thoughts on it. And he feels a lot, at least our discussion. He was a terrific person, and his frustration is the same way. And he's a person of color. He felt that, we're splitting ourselves further apart, and that there's other issues that we should be looking at. And he was just as surprised that under President Obama, who was a black man and a white man, that we've got... Now, what was said, and what I agree with him on 100%, is that politics doesn't want us to solve these problems because there's too much money. So even if Obama, because I brought up to him, what about Chicago? I go, it irks me that a man from Chicago, that lives in Chicago, who becomes president of the United States, that we all felt an emotional moment, a release to. There was an emotional moment when President Obama was elected. Forget his politics, but a black man rising to the White House. That was a release that America felt, look where we've come. But how unfortunate that it was only the beginning. It was the beginning of the crushing aspect of exploding race again. And I don't know if we're going to pull it together anymore. Mieszkam w skórtam pszczotjak. Zjebieljufi nie mieszkaniu. Braszkotie w psatant. Biskortul. Metal critical race theory. Boskovic mascultanto. Zetota fatsumpo kukwajik. Bisfanto kumbagentik. Sepatutu pacin tanto locumbo. Fase no citena baskor. Obama korosevicen biolukoskiji. Vide smarto. Mezzo rogogiram. Maggio no posco. Maggio posco. Beppecatan tanto la vacetti. Una attacchita, messo sotto il ponto. Now, Clotobito, I understand the sensitivities out there. I totally understand them. But what I don't understand is how come the educators in America che scamco scorgio giunti a motiu, miscanto critical race theory, basso do barro di emoji. It seems like there's an attack on a certain European culture. There's a huge attack on the European culture. Do you understand that, what's happening? And we've got to do things about it. We've got to unite around this. Black, white, Asian, Latino, and say enough. Enough of this. We've got to stop it. Because it's tearing us apart, and it'll tear the world apart. I'll be back momentarily. But one last thought. Because I misread the little card. I'm going to count down. I want you to hold your breath for 5 seconds with me. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you a question. Did you know withdrawing your cash from the bank can be very risky? Oh, that's right. So please listen up. Are you aware that banks are now required to spy on us for the government? And then report any behavior they think is suspicious. It's true. I was shocked as I read Swiss America's blockbuster report, The Secret War on Cash. This new war against cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. So listen to me. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Get your free copy by calling 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Or visit SwissAmerica.com. This war on cash is growing daily and also includes all forms of digital money. Please get and read The Secret War on Cash, free to every Robert Davi listener today by calling now 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646, and you can thank me later.
Fred Dreyer here. Join me at the Ramp Bar and Grill in Burbank, California. Now open with indoor dining. Monday through Thursday, noon to 9, Friday, noon to 10, and Saturday, 4 to 10. Happy hour weekdays from 2 to 7 p.m. It's the home of the $5 margarita, by the way. Start with mouth-watering charbroiled chicken nachos. The best cheesy garlic bread in town, steamed clams and delicious soups and fresh salads. The best burgers in town. And steaks? Oh, you bet. Yum. Ribeye, filet, even prime rib. Italian specialties too. Ravioli, linguine, capellini, pomodoro, chicken parmesan, and a lot more. Save room for desserts too, including homemade cheesecake. It's the Ramp Bar and Grill, 7730 North Hollywood Way, minutes from Burbank Airport. Call 818-768-6499. Takeout and Postmates delivery too. Open Mother's Day from 1 to 9 p.m. Reserve your tables now. Call 818-768-6499.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Actor, director, singer, and father, Robert Davi.
Would you welcome my friend Robert Davi?
Robert Davi is with me now from L.A.
Robert Davi.
Hello. Yes, I'm with you right now, and you're with me. I hope you're with me. I want you to tune in. Find me on FaceTime, on Facebook, YouTube, CRN Talk, and tune into the show. Watch the show with me. Have a cup of Java or a tequila. Who knows what's in here? Remember when Dean Martin and Sinatra used to do those shows? You never knew what was in their cups, did you? Maybe it's a Jack Daniels this hour of the morning. It's only coffee. Tea and coffee is what you'll find me totaling. Once in a while, a nice glass of red wine. But if you're listening to the show, I really want you to call Swiss America. They're 1-800-289-2646 number. Give them a call, all right? Because precious metals are the way to go. I know you heard the ad earlier, but I believe in everyone I've spoken to, anyone that has any kind of savvy, which I don't have a business savvy. I just thought about acting and singing. But anyone that I've spoken to, they're all into precious metals, and Swiss America has been around for a long time. So check them out, please. Get their secret war on cash, or get one of their silver coins. They have the silver walking Liberty half dollar from Swiss America. 1-800-289-BUYCOIN, BUYCOIN. Now I want to get back to this critical race theory and how they're stapling our tongues to our foreheads. Oh yeah, they're doing it. I was driving over this morning in a rush because, coming from the weekend, and I told you my 48th birthday was a milestone, and people came over. And then I had my friend Chris Karabi come over. He's a great lawyer, and his wife and 2 kids, and my other friend came over. All surprising. My Leo Grillo. Leo has the largest animal sanctuary in America, Delta Rescue. You should check it out, Delta Rescue. And anyway, he's a cousin, and he came over, and we had a tremendous time. But I was talking about the sadness of my son on the way over, 20 years old, said, you can't call a girl beautiful, Dad, because they'll feel offended, the young girls today. So speech is being salinized. They're salinizing speech. What is that leading to? When the individual can no longer express themselves and you're bound by rigid rules, what is it leading to? There's got to be a world movement. There's got to be something behind this besides just a few overweight politicians or long in the tooth politicians. There's something else. Don't you not see that? Can you not see that our individual liberties are being sliced away? But why? And who's behind it? Nostradamus. Let's talk about Nostradamus, his predictions. Now, he's been right about many of his predictions in the ballpark. And not only Nostradamus, but even Elon Musk talk about artificial intelligence as being the most dangerous thing to humanity. Do you realize that? The most dangerous thing against humanity is artificial intelligence. Are we being prepared? Are we frogs? Think about it. Are we frogs in this boiling water? And they're attacking speech, they're attacking race, they're attacking culture, they're attacking iconic figures of history. Are we being salinized? We're being salinized. Our spirits, our speech. Next they'll be coming after faith. Be careful. They are coming after faith, but be careful. People talk about coming after guns. I understand. It's a buzzword for the right and a buzzword for the left. and the Second Amendment, and they're coming after this and coming after that, and assault weapon stuff, and we talked about this in one of the shows last week when I said, let's talk about where this is really happening. What's causing the violence? This doesn't cause violence. I put this down, I don't touch it, it doesn't cause violence. But if I started to beat you over the head with it, put you in a headlock and beat you over the head with it, it's a weapon. It's the same thing with a knife, or a fork, or a baseball bat, or a gun. It's the individual. Now, I'm all for background checks. Make no mistake about it. I don't want guns in the hands of people that are not skilled or mentally stable. That's a big issue. But what about the criminals that continue to get them, that are pouring through our border? Immigration, my dear friends. The immigration, the illegal immigration that's coming in. And I did a film called License to Kill in 1989, 1990. Who did I play? I played Franz Sanchez, the Colombian drug lord, the cartel, the leader. I was a combination of Ochoa, Escobar, and Leder, Carlos Leder. I researched that. This is 1989. I researched the cartels. I spent time. I met Pablo Escobar, and sometime I'll tell you a story about that. But I understand what they're doing in the cartels. Now, there's more fentanyl coming across the border than ever before. The border agents are talking about it. But yet the politicians aren't. And where does Kamala Harris go? 1,000 miles away from the border, where the action's really happening, where the devastation's really happening. And yet, we can't say anything about it. We're being our tongues to our foreheads, politically wise, what they're doing at an aggressive rate. But who's behind it? Is it just Obama and his crew? Susan Rice and his crew? Her crew? Who's behind it all? Is there something else? Is it George Soros? Is there some pervading essence behind it? We talked about our speech being salinized. We can't say you have a pretty leg or a pretty dress or you're a pretty girl or a beautiful girl, or there's certain buzzwords sexually, racially. They want to get rid of Dr. Seuss, green eggs and ham. They want to get rid of musical notation. Why? They said in Oxford that musical notation is a form of imperialism and colonialism. So there's an attack on a culture. And God know I'm all for raising up all cultures. There's tremendous culture and history, and I understand it. But there are some advances that have been made by other cultures that are superior to other cultures. You just have to admit that. It's just what it is. And some cultures have a superior, then, it's just the way it is. And we all add to each other instead of subtracting from each other. And what they want to do is subtract us. And they can't. We've got to fight against subtracting. We've got to speak out against subtracting, even if it's in a gibberish language. Even if it's in a gibberish language. Talk gibberish. Go online. Talk gibberish. Allow me to introduce you to the most trusted name in precious metals, Swiss America. Since 1982, they've been helping Americans protect their wealth from dangerous government spending and runaway debt. It's no secret gold and silver prices have rocketed over the last decade with all of the rising uncertainty. Experts say precious metal prices are headed much higher in the months and years ahead. To help protect my listeners, Swiss America has a very special offer. Silver Walking Liberty $50 at the amazingly low price of $12.50 each delivered. That's right, $12.50. Call now to reserve your silver coins at 800-289-2646, which spells 800-BUYCOIN, 800-BUY-COIN. Silver Walking Liberty $50 from Swiss America for just $12.50 each, delivered while supplies last. Again, that's 800-289-2646, which spells 800-BUY-COIN, BUYCOIN. Do it today.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet. fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1,800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic, market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our peach Bellini martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
All right, is that a Q2 or a Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA.
Nah.
To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement, ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Robert Davi.
Magic is not a game of tricks for children. I know a lot of cool tricks. I did a movie in South Africa. You know, acting has enabled me and music to travel the world. So I spent, I think, 6 to 8 weeks in South Africa, traveling around there, shooting in Joburg and Sun City, and meeting the lovely people there and seeing what the issues are there. And that little clip was from a film I called The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Now, years later, Nick Cage did a remake of that film with a huge budget. But it's a great little film for your family and for your kids. It's The Sorcerer's Apprentice with Robert Davi. I play Merlin, a modern day kind of Merlin, and Kelly LeBrock plays Morgana. There, you know, so we've been after each other, Morgana and Merlin. So you should watch the film. It's kind of good. I had that's more of an Irish accent, but I had a Welsh accent in the film. And it's a cute film. It's a family film. I did another family film called Magic. Magic. You should watch that. You can get it free. You can get Magic free on Delta Rescue. Sorcerer's Apprentice is on Amazon Prime, but Magic is free on Delta Rescue's website. Go into Delta Rescue and feature films, and you could see Magic. I got the Celtic Women to do the music for it. That's a fable about Christopher Lloyd plays a talking dog. I play a scientist, and it's a father and daughter drama. And check out both those films for your family, because family's the most important, isn't it? That's why we're all here. family. It's hard to think about anything else when it comes, because it boils down to family. I mean, seeing all my family together, a lot of my family. My daughter Isabella was missing. She was traveling from Michigan to Colorado. My son Sean was in Vegas, in Palm Springs. But to see your family, my sister was in Pennsylvania. But family is what it's all about. And why we go through what we go through. And it's hard for families, and I could see it. It's funny that they came home, they went to get beer, the kids. And I was outside having a cigar with my friend and talking. And the kids went to get some drinks, sodas, beers, and soda and beer, tequila, beer, soda, tequila, beer, and soda, and beer and tequila. And anyway, I don't know, but I said something. I said some kind of inside the house, I said something, and a lot of people were laughing and giggling, and they were laughing and giggling, and it was fun for them. And I go, how great the family's all together. They're laughing and giggling and laughing, and I went up, to be part of the laughing and giggling and the giggling and laughing, and in the doorway I see them all scurrying about, and they don't let them in. Keep him out. Keep him out. All right? This is what kids do. Keep him out. Keep the father out, because the father's tough. I mean, the parts I played. I'm no pansy daddy. Okay? I'm fair. But I'm no pansy daddy. So anyway, I see them scurrying about, and I see that the floor is wet. My wood floor, parquet floor. And what had happened was the Shay, the grandson, brought in this big package of ice and the alcohol and the drinks that they had, and I guess the styrofoam broke and it smashed on the floor, and things broke and ice went all over the place. And so anyway, so they didn't want me to see this, but they're all giggling and laughing. And now I know that when I was a kid, and I went to Catholic school, I would laugh. And if the nuns were yelling at us, or my dad would yell at me, I would I would laugh. I don't know why I laughed. It was not out of disrespect. It was out of the sense of the absurd of people being angry at things. Because the absurdity, and isn't that a curious human emotion? To laugh when you're being yelled at or disciplined, and it's, now sometimes it could probably have a negative connotation, but with me, I try to think back. It was like, I don't know why, the embarrassment, the fear, who knows what it was. It wasn't negative, but it was funny. And my Aunt V, I'm going to go see my cousin Johnny in Hilton Head next week, and his mom, my Aunt V, was my father's sister. Brother and sister married a brother, sister and brother. And I used to entertain her, and she would laugh hysterically, and I would imitate my dad getting mad, and she would love when I did that, and it was so much fun. But it's family. You go back to family. I feel bad for my wife, who's from Estonia, and her family she hasn't been able to see her family for 2 years, since the pandemic. Just before that, in December, we were there. So it's hard on her, and but she has us, and but it's still difficult, especially when you have an ex-wife that comes to visit. I mean, that's kind of an interesting dynamic. You can't help but I don't want to hold or maintain animosity. I'm a man of forgiveness, man of acceptance. Why not? So, as we go forward in life, and they are salinizing our speech, why are they doing this? They're salinizing speech because, are they getting us ready for something else? Artificial intelligence, as I told you, Nostradamus called artificial intelligence the most dangerous threat to humanity. And we're approaching that. Didn't Elon Musk say something similar? And Irving Asimov, the writer, the sci-fi writer, wrote something about this. He wrote something about this that was very interesting. I may read this story sometime. But think about artificial intelligence. What are they getting us ready for? And my son wanted me to watch a movie the other day. It's Transformer, the newest one or whatever. And I'm not. I like acting films. I like Italian films, French films, German films, foreign films. I like films that give me a different substance. Yes, it's fun to watch, and he has to watch because he's a young actor. And but what I did gather from watching that was what are we getting prepared for with artificial intelligence? Because at a certain point, like those Transformers in those films, are they an alien civilization? Are they going to create themselves? So, I mean, that's prophetic, isn't it? And you combine that with Nostradamus, and that they will destroy our humanity, and the salinization of our speech and critical race theory and splitting us up and all of this coming, could it be that Jackie Gleason, who did The Honeymooners, if you don't know who Jackie Gleason is, he was a terrific person, funny. He did a movie with Art Carney, not a movie, a TV series, called The Honeymooners. That was on when I was growing up, and we watch it today. I show my kids, and everybody loves it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason. But anyway, Jackie Gleason was questioning President Nixon one time about UFOs. And he asked him if they were real. And one evening, the story goes that President Nixon called up Jackie Gleason and took him to a site of a UFO. Now, I told you I did, in 1997, Confirmation, Hard Evidence of Aliens Among Us. I did that show in 1997. I've known all these guys that have, Whitley Strieber and Art Bell I spoke to, and George Nuri now, who does a terrific show. All the experts on this stuff, the phenomenon. And now the government is saying UFOs. But even before the government, a couple of years ago, the Pope said, it is okay for us to believe in alien life because they're God's creatures as well. Think about it. The government, the Pope, the acceptance of UFOs, and the stories we have about ancient civilizations. What are we being prepared for? Robert Davi, back momentarily.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
When you really want Italian food, you have got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Citizens, no need now to clamor for culinary gustatorial delights. Dreams do come true. Columbo's has triumphantly reopened its golden doors to feed the famished and soothe the savage beast. Bask in the delights of Columbo's succulent steaks, Neptune's superior offerings from the 7 seas, Columbo's family Italian specialties, and of course their world-famous meatballs, and it's all so affordable. Yes, Columbo's, the 9th wonder of the world, the Southern California pantheon dedicated to unrivaled and unparalleled yum-yum. Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, mangia bene.
Now it's time for MedVed's Entertainment Minute. Peanuts was probably the most beloved comic strip in the history of the world. And now there's an artfully assembled documentary about its creator, Charles Schulz. It's called Who Are You, Charlie Brown? And available on Apple TV+.
Peanuts is just its own planet.
I think Charlie Brown is just a little bit of what all of us have inside of us.
That's the voice of the real Charles Schulz, who died at 78 some 21 years ago. But unfortunately, this handsome tribute film includes generalized expressions of appreciation from oddly assorted celebrities rather than deeply revealing recollections from Schulz himself or his immediate friends and family. The animation of Charlie Brown, Lucy, Linus, Snoopy, and the rest of the gang is all lovely, even heartwarming at times. The central question posed by this promising project is never fully answered, but it's still worthy of 2.5 stars and your attention to ponder Who Are You, Charlie Brown?
The Robert Davi Show.
You know, I think if I threatened to kill people, if they didn't eat your cookies, they still wouldn't eat them. You know what I think of your cookies?
All right, that's a
what I
funny.
think of your cookies.
That's a funny clip. That's from a movie called Tracks. I did it for Dina De Laurentiis and Gary DeVore, who had a tragic end. The writer-director who did Running Scared. But that was called Tracks. It was a film that they built around Shadoe Stevens. And I play a character, Aldo Palucci, who's a mob guy. And the Tracks character it wants to sell cookies. He wants to make cookies. And he wants to elicit me as one of his partners. And I say to him, I got a great marketing angle. Buy these cookies or I'll have you killed. And I thought it was, and the film actually has the biggest expulsion of gas in the history of cinema, in which the car that I'm in blows up because of it, and I mean internal gas, not gasoline, based on his cookies. But it's a funny kind of film. UFOs, Jackie Gleason, and President Nixon. Now, it's alleged, and you can Google this, that President Nixon took Jackie Gleason for a ride one time and showed him a UFO. Now, I never talked to Jackie Gleason about it, but I did talk to a lot of experts about it when I did this other thing. And when I did the Bond film, I mentioned that earlier today, when I did the Bond film in 1989-90, we filmed in Key West, Florida, and I spoke to a lot of the Coast Guard and some of the Navy guys that were there. And I asked them about the Bermuda Triangle and the phenomenon there. And they told me hair-raising stories, some of which they experienced. There's a great quote by Shakespeare that Hamlet says to Horatio. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. So, we are... What are we? We strive. We pray. We move toward light. We have a daily existence that is plagued by challenges, isn't it? The fear of the environment now. The heat waves, the unprecedented heat waves, I've read some places, 1,200 years, the hottest it's been in 1,200 years, and the drought, the excessive drought, and the continuing hurricanes, and the snows, and the melting of the ice caps. Is it all real? Is it all happening? And yet we have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in office. We have Russia, we have China, we have COVID, we have information, misinformation. We have politicians selling us down the river. We have riots on the streets of our nations. What does it all mean? I said once before that our common enemy is death. Death. And yet we can't unite. No matter what happens here, there seems to be a faction of those people that hate other people. I get messages, DMs from certain people, from Canada and other places, lefties, I would say, that are so adamant on denigrating the orange man, quote unquote. For what reason? Now, let me tell you something about the orange man, meaning Donald Trump. Have you heard of Nikola Tesla? I'm sure you've heard of Nikola Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla, one of the great minds of all time. The Tesla coil, electricity. He said there's a bandwidth of electricity around the earth that we could plug into for free energy. This is what he said. And he was experimenting with this on Long Island and other things. He had experiments in the desert where he would put a light bulb in the earth and it would light up. And he said there's free electricity. So he was working on things before he died. And then when Nikola Tesla died, what happened? What happened? Where's the music? We're in a warp zone. Come on, go get Jeremy. Get that music up. We need that bed. That's it. There you go. Sometimes the singer has to tell the conductor, I can't hear the strings. Or he tells the sound guy, give me something here. This happens. There you go. So now Nikola Tesla dies, and he leaves these writings in a hotel in New York City where he was staying. And the FBI and CIA confiscate his writings. And where do they bring the writings of Nikola Tesla? To MIT. Yes, MIT. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And who do they give these writings to? Do you know? A handful of you people would know who he gave these writings to. He gave the writings to a man named John Trump. Yes, John Trump, who for 40 years was one of the heads of MIT, brilliant mind, who developed technologies like MRI and other things. John Trump, the uncle of Donald Trump. So you have that kind of genetic intelligence, and no one talks about that ever. Have you ever heard the story of John Trump and Nikola Tesla? That we brought those papers to him to decipher. And if that is so, what does Donald Trump know? Now, Ronald Reagan gave John Trump a Medal of Freedom in the 80s. Did you know that? And in the office was Donald Trump. That's when he met Reagan. You see, if you think civilization is struggling and battling for something, what are we battling for? No man is perfect. No man is absolutely perfect. There is no man perfect. And I don't like denigrating Joe Biden as much as I don't like the denigration of Donald Trump. But their ideologies I can talk about. And I don't like the divisiveness of both parties. So maybe this whole salinization of language, of thought, is leading toward artificial intelligence, preparing us for UFOs, for alien intelligence. Maybe that's what's happening. Do you think that's what's happening? Do you think that alien intelligence is coming toward us? They are seeing unexplained phenomenon in the skies over some warships. Now, could they be technology from another nation? Now, remember I told you, if you did listen to one of my earlier shows, I was in Torino filming recently in Italy. I went to the Automobile Museum, and I was shown one of the first electric cars from 1900. Electric car. And 1900, we had an electric car. And that electric car could go 120 kilometers per hour And it only ran for 8 minutes or 6 minutes on a charge, or 6 miles on a charge. But in the 1920s, there were more charging stations for electric cars than gasoline cars. And then we dropped that experience. Why? What could it be? Well, could it be, what if we had everything electric? Cars, everything running on a grid of electricity. And what if a weapon was detonated over the United States? Now, you've heard about that. What would it cause? We would be, forget nuclear, 50 million people would starve. I mean, it's untold disaster. Now, think about that. Think about that when you hear about going electric totally. Now, I'm all for the environment. Trust me. We have to do something, or we have to find out, or it's just part of what's happening in the environment. But I have an idea. I spoke about it briefly last week, that I think we need. It's called the Earth Force. The Earth Force. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to discuss with you what the Earth Force is and why we need it. If the environmentalists, which I am one of, to an extent, if what is being said is true, we need an Earth Force more than anything. If this is the most dangerous threat, as Joe Biden said and others have said. The Earth Force was brought to me initially in 1990 by a man named Jim Pinkerton, who is a writer. He's a 6'7" guy, and he was with the Bush Domestic Policy Advisor. And him and another man came up with an idea called the Earth Corps. They brought it to me and said, would I bring it to the Hollywood community? Which I did. And I brought it to Bonnie Reese, who was the head of ECHO, the Hollywood environmental community. And with the hope that it would take some kind of traction. But of course, this is in 1990. No one did anything. But I want to talk about the Earth Force tomorrow. God bless.
Are you tired of your favorite talk show sounding like this?